All right, good afternoon. I'm going to be mindful of everyone's time and just open it up for questions.
Start here in the aisle, John Hoover, Sports Illustrated Senior. Thank you, Mike. Brent, when you think about, you go back and look at how you might have evaluated yourself after the 2022 season, after 23, after 24, how has that changed going into 2025, and how did you evaluate yourself as a head coach in 2024, and what do you need to get better at?
Probably get better at everything. I'd probably say that had we gone, 16 and 0, or, I think there's room to grow and improve, every year despite, success or failure. But yeah, just again, what I've said several times, both this year and every other year post season, is you look at everything in your program, you evaluate it, yourself, your coaches, players, roster, all your internal programming that you do, and how you can get better. And every season, the challenges are a little bit different, and so you evaluate it, on those things, what the DNA is, of the new team, heading in to the next season, and the out of season, things of that nature. So, this is a new season, and you learn and grow from everything, both good and bad. We feel like we have addressed a lot of things that jump out to you, right away. There's roster issues that you're always looking at. Really felt like we had a good roster. We know we had some areas that were inexperienced and maybe not quite up to where we've been in the past, particularly offensive line, a year ago. So you try to get guys better. You try to protect them where you can and not ask them to do certain things. Certainly getting into the SEC last year, the margin for error was very small. And with the influx of injuries, it really exposed some areas where guys maybe are inexperienced or weren't quite ready to play yet. I think that, and I think the test of time will tell, but I really feel good about the most major change that we had, and that's, changing offensive coordinator. And, when we realized that maybe things we needed to change, I think, making those hard, tough decisions at a tough time, we were, showed that we're willing to do that, and that's what the players, deserve. But really excited about this football team, and that's really where all the energy and the focus has been since the end of last season, is what we got to do to enhance this roster, strengthen our locker room, improve the players that we retained, and looking at the things that this roster we wanted it to do from an improvement and development standpoint. Strength and conditioning, sports science, those types of things. I'm really excited about the improvements that we've made and the acquisitions that we've made. I know it's well documented in who those guys are, and I'm sure you have plenty of questions about that. But I really like this roster. I think that it's a better overall roster from where we were a year ago, and the test of time will tell, where this team stands. We've got a great challenge in front of us from a schedule standpoint, something that all of us are looking forward to. This is a group that's very competitive. They've allowed us to push them and challenge them. They haven't flinched. We've made tremendous improvement from where we started in January, and all of the strength, speed, body composition. Really excited about the improvements that we've made there, and I think our guys are a confident, competitive group.
So, The right side, Ryan Aber, Oklahoma.
Yeah, Brent, I believe last week you said that sort of grouped Taylor Wine into the group with John Mateer and Jaron Kanak as guys who were sort of in the building all the time. How have you seen Taylor's work ethic grow? Is that something that was just there from the start and now maybe it's paying off? Or is it something that's evolved, and just what about his evolution as a player as well?
Yeah, he's had great work ethic since he's gotten here, hungry, driven. Where he is now at 270 plus pounds is different when he came in. And so he's transformed his body. Through that, obviously, he's also grown and matured like you would want all your players, but he's been very committed. He's kept his head down, hasn't been distracted, hasn't worried about anything other than himself, and controlled the controllables like you want all of your players to. It's easier said than done, but he's shown tremendous improvement and development through a lot of hard work, belief in himself. As I tell the players all the time, doing what is required is never enough, and he's bought into that, and he's lived that life, and he has incredibly high standards that he lives and dives by every day. Been a great example of, just the strain that it takes, and excited to see, what's in front of him.
George Toya.
Yeah, Brent, offensive line, you mentioned him briefly earlier. How much better do you feel maybe about that group, considering the experience you have coming back from last year, as well as some of the young talent that you brought in?
Yeah, again, we had 3 guys in the portal that we feel like have given us better competitive depth at that position, and then the returning players, as you noted, some of the guys that had gone through different injuries, Jake Taylor, Jacob Sexton, we're both banged up. Troy Everett the first part of the year as well. So all those guys back and healthy, along with guys like Fabechi, certainly Logan Howland, Heath Ozida, both had postseason shoulder surgeries, and they're back and healthy. Had great summers as well. And then the influx of some of the young guys, and Mike Fasusi, Ryan Fogier, in particular, Daniel Akinkume, as well as really made some good progress. Eddie Pierre-Louis, again, he had not gotten here until last summer, so he was a little bit behind mentally, fundamentally. What he did in high school, that's a hard position to fundamentally step in and physically for that matter. But Eddie's really made tremendous improvement, as well as confidence, in a much different place. He's actually leading in some capacity now. Logan and Heath did some really good things for young players. Both of them probably were forced into action before they were quite ready, and so sometimes you get exposed through that. The exposure, even though it's humiliating and mentally challenging on you, I think that's where the real growth happens, and both of those guys say they're much better through that fire that they went through last year. But I'm really excited about the guys in the portal as well, the maturity, the experience that they have brought in, and the improvement. A guy like Derek Simmons, he's made as much improvement from a strength and body composition as anybody on the offensive line. Mike Fasusi as well. They really stood out. We had the offensive line made the most percentage improvements in the weight room when it comes to strength, and added size, the pounds that the group percentage-wise gained, and body comp was excellent, speed improvement, a lot of areas, and a lot of groups did. Overall, as a team, we improved in every area from where we were a year ago. But the offensive line between Derek Simmons and Jake Makula and also Luke Baklenko, just a good group of guys that have, again, made great improvement. And whether they're starters or they're role guys or they're part of the depth group of guys that have really made everyone better, including themselves. So I feel like we'll be I think the chemistry of the group is in a better place than where we were a year ago. People matter, and not everybody. And I think the guys blended in well last year, but some guys take leadership roles right away and are a little more relational, things of that nature. And then I think the experienced, Troy's in a much different place. He's one of our best leaders on the team, but he's leading in a different way than he did a year ago. And he's not the only one. There's a lot of good guys from that standpoint. Mm-hmm.
Barry?
Yeah, Brett, you got a 29-year-old offensive coordinator, and he's been asked to run the offense. What are the pros and cons of a guy that young having such a leadership role?
Well, again, there'll be plenty of things that you learn and you grow, you adapt to. That was maybe a first-time I don't know what all those things are. We'll find out. You lean on the staff if you're going to be successful. As a coordinator, you're not going to do it alone. Can't play quarterback alone. Can't be the head coach and do things alone from this position either. If you're going to be successful, it's going to take everybody. And so I don't think that his role is any different from that standpoint. But I think having great self-awareness, understanding your schemes and what the strengths and the weaknesses are is important. I think, he's got great depth of knowledge of the inner workings, and again, a great group of people around him that he surrounds himself with in the staff room that'll help him navigate and manage those things. So you got to go through it, as a young coach and figure all those things out. But he's had his pedigree has been really good. He's had great success. He's done more with less, as I've noted in the past. Very confident, and there's a really good system, systematically, that has proven to have, elite level, high level success for a long time. And I feel like he has a great, understanding and knowledge of it, and a great humility to make the changes and to adapt and pivot where he needs to, along the way.
Next, Barry, go to Mason Young.
Yeah, Brent, you talked about trying to kind of protect guys in camp and get them healthy going into the season. How much more of a challenge is that now with the house settlement, taking your roster down maybe minus 10 guys from last year to keep those guys healthy, protected?
Yeah, a lot of times during camp, the scouts don't do a whole lot. The scouts, if they get in, if they're good enough to get into a three-man rotation, you really rep 3 teams in fall camp. And as you get closer to game week, within those first 2 weeks, the 3-man rotation's over and you're in a 2-man rotation. Then is when you get into your scout teams, when you start doing some opponent prep. But they don't get as much. I'm not sure what that looks like, having not gone through that before. But from a total roster standpoint, a lot of times those guys are they're just holding dummies and or just observing, unless they're, again, part of that 3-man rotation. So, we're always, again, this is a tough, challenging game. You can't practice, in, walkthroughs and be ready to compete at a high level in this conference. So you got to do the really hard, tough things. And you got to practice physicality in order to play physical. This is a league that's defined by the trenches. And so that got to challenge our guys and do a good job of figuring out what that balance is, what that looks like. And injuries, this is a violent game. Injuries are part of the game. Last year, you feel like that was the first time I've been through that. So again, in a 30-year career, that's an aberration. I think that would qualify for that. And but you're always, you got to lean in on, there's a lot of data. There's a feel for things. And then there's a historical, from a prep standpoint, what it takes to get a team ready. And the challenges of fall camp. So we lean on everything from the sports science data that talks about the individual or position groups and total mileage, and some of the data that we get back, the feedback that we get from there, and tailor practice towards that as well.
Right side, second row, Joe Masato, the Oklahoma.
Yeah, Brent, just to follow up on Taylor Wine, a guy who didn't play much first 2 seasons, instead of looking elsewhere, maybe for a more opportunity, he comes in year 3, seems ready to play a larger role. Is he kind of an example of maybe a traditional development arc that we don't, see as much of these days in college football?
I mean, I think that's fair. Kip Lewis last year was his first year really playing, substantial. And again, so he played very little as a true freshman, a little more as a second-year player. I think it's more the norm than not. I don't think he had any inkling or any misconception about where he stood, and he had great self-awareness, tremendous humility, as I spoke of. I think those are traits that allow you to give yourself a little bit of grace, patience, and also the hunger to get better. When you know where you lack, and then you have the hunger and the drive to go attack it. He's a classic example of recruiting, a certain profile of a player. And we all want the guys that are ready-made. Those guys are few and far between. And you know, again, who are those guys? Tommy Harris, Adrian Peterson. I think Sam Bradford redshirted. Baker walked on. You know, Kyler went through a few years before he ever found a starting position, and in college, and some of the best players that we've had. It's year 3, year 4, year 5. I can run out of fingers and toes of guys that were first-round draft picks that redshirted, and that didn't start a college football game until their 3rd or 4th year. There's a lot of guys like that, and then there's a lot of guys that are just like, again, Taylor Wine as well. And I think when you're doing it right, you got a roster that's, you know, got a combination of both of them. But the best thing that Taylor's about is his humility, his work ethic, and his level of consistency. Had the players, I pointed him out amongst many players yesterday in the team meeting, because I wanted the players to give testimony about who Taylor Wine is. Not from me, not from Taylor. You guys tell me, you know, how's that book read? And you know, the players did a wonderful job. And probably the first comment was his consistency. He's been the same guy every single day. Shows up to the building every single day the same way, same mindset, same hunger, same work ethic, same output. And that's the best players and the best teams that you've ever been on. If there's something, you know, they're consistent. They stay at a really high level. Maybe not the elite level, but they're not going to get down here, you know, very often down in the valley either. And that's what wins for you.
Is that something you usually do? Maybe pick out a guy and then have his teammates talk?
Yeah,
about
lots of guys. Just trying to affirm guys, and also I want to hear from them, and I want them to know each other. I want them to have great awareness too of what is around them. And I think what is more the norm than not is everybody worry about themselves. You know, social Darwinism, survival of the fittest, and I don't think that's conducive to having a really connected team that has great trust and respect and love for each other. You know, when you have a lot of guys that are just about themselves. So I think having a genuine appreciation for everybody is one of the foundational principles to having a great locker room and a successful organization. Mm-hmm.
Okay, right side, 3rd row.
With Bryant AP.
Yeah, so Coach, I had a question about a trend in recent years in college football. So last season, there were the most two-point attempts in Division I since 1978, most converted since 1970, made it the highest percentage since 1984, just under 46%. 226 made last season, but less than 100 as recently as 2017. You guys attempted 5 last season. What is your approach to that, your thought process, and what are you seeing overall?
Yeah, some of it's, you know, the point in time in the game where a 2-point conversion is really, it's the only choice based on a lot of data that everybody has the same information, when to go for it and when not to. But yeah, there's been a lot more. That's, I think, more and more people. I know every team in the SEC, you know, lives by the analytics of you know, college football, and still at that point, I think the best thing you can do is use your guts and your instincts and just to feel for the game, how that's going. But you know, I think that's number one is, you know, the analytics and the value of those, and the more educated that everybody has become through those analytics. And to your point, you know, the success rate has been very high, historically speaking. So I think, you know, you see people start the game, and they're trying to create some momentum and get people on their heels early too. You see all different types of you know, strategy when utilizing, you know, the 2-point, you know, conversion.
Okay, we're coming to left side, 2nd row, Hannah.
Hoover, KOCO.
Yeah, John Mateer and Jake Knott were the obvious transfer portal headliners. What is it about them that's going to give SEC teams fits this season?
Well, I don't know how much fits they're going to, you know, give the SEC. I know a lot of people in here have made comments that, you know, they're going to really struggle in the SEC because this isn't Wyoming and whoever else that we're quantifying that against. But I don't see how's that different from, oh, he hasn't played in the SEC. Well, how about a freshman quarterback playing in the SEC? He hadn't played the SEC either, right? But there's been plenty of, young players that never played college football until their freshman year, and then they do really well. So I think for those guys in particular, why I believe in them, I think they've got a lot of natural talent. I think they got instincts. They got belief. They've got tremendous work ethic. They've got humility to be prepared and show up every day, to strain, to get better, fight, when things aren't going their way. And but they're really, they're really good football players at the end of the day. And they've shown that through a body of work. And, I think, again, John had great success. I think he led the country in touchdowns last year. But the best things that he can do, just has tremendous capacity as a quarterback. I don't see, a guy that is, braggadocious. I see a guy that has tremendous humility, respect for the game, hungry to gain knowledge. He's performed at a pretty good level on what he sees on the practice field every single day. And when he doesn't do something well, he usually corrects, those issues. Haven't had Jaden in the same light, him not getting here until the summer, but he's got a great, presence to him, and again has shown tremendous work ethic, and again the natural things that you see on tape that you. Again, his pace, his speed, his explosiveness, his ability to break tackles, his instincts, his ability to do a lot of things out of the backfield, pass protect, all of those things. Lends credibility to he's going to have a chance to have success in this conference, which is again a great conference. We know that.
Time for just a few more. Tom Green, first row.
One asked you about the cornerback room. Obviously, Eli came on last season and really established himself there. But with Gentry coming off the shoulder injury and Jacoby having split time at the at wide receiver last year, just how are you feeling about the overall depth of that room? And is Kendall Dolby maybe someone that could split time there and Cheetah too?
Yeah, great question, and I really think that room is reflective of several positions. I think we have position battles across the board. I'm really excited about camp. It's going to be a very competitive camp. There's whether it's corner, it's safety, it's cheetah, it's linebacker, it's defensive line, it's D-end. Who's going to run out first should mean something. I don't want guys comfortable just getting to play. Everybody should want to be the first guy running out, and then fight like hell if they're not. And don't mope and complain and point and blame and all that kind of stuff. Show up and compete, lay it on the line every day. But I think the same thing goes for the offense, at receiver, at offensive line, at running back, tight end, even at quarterback. I really like the competition. I think that's going to bring out the best in everybody. It's going to make us better through the course of the next several weeks, and then even going into the season. I think the same thing should and will take place. Eli Bowen doesn't make his first start till maybe 4 or 5 games into the season. After again a small body of work. Every time he gets in, he makes plays, plays big, and the moment isn't too big for him. So at the corner position, will Dolby play some out there at corner too? Yeah, absolutely. He played there his first year here, and also in junior college as well. He's got great versatility. We'll move several guys around. Really, again, pulling for Gentry Williams. He's worked so incredibly hard. He's been a great leader, which a lot of times when guys have been banged up as much as he has, you show up to the building every day in the practice field and you feel like a man without a country, and so you don't really have the innate ability to lead, and that couldn't be further from the truth. And he's got a unique skill set. People see the toughness that he shows up with, the love that he has for his teammates. He celebrates their success, and I think that's helped him stay engaged over the last several years, so he just doesn't give up and quit and give in to a lot of setbacks. So really excited about where he's at, and even during the season last year saw Jacoby Johnson really start to grow and become a good corner. Again, we've talked about it a lot. He's always been one of the most elite athletes in our locker room and in the country. But learning how to become a really good corner is a challenge in all of itself. And really saw him starting to pick that up, and then saw great growth that gets you excited about him in the course of the spring and the summer as well. But those three players, along with Kendall Dolby. And then, again, we've talked about some other young guys, Jeremiah Newcomb and Cortland Gilroy, Malik Hawkins, Tristan Haynes, Day as well. He's a guy that is as talented as anybody we have on our team as well, can run all day. Really excellent athlete. And so that's a group that has really good talent, and now we need to show that we can be really good players within our schemes as well.
Left side, third row, Curtis Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Brent, can you share any information of who will be out for camp to start at least?
I don't have any new updated information, so I know you guys will be part of camp too, so we'll talk about, you guys got specific questions about guys. Yeah, he won't be available to start camp. He's on the same time schedule that he was before.
Last one, back left, Brandon Drum.
Hey, Brent. The defensive line, you guys returned a lot of guys this year, super talented. Jaden Jackson played a lot as a freshman. But what are the expectations for David Stone or Danny Okoye? Obviously, you had some transfers coming like Marvin Jones Jr. at the defensive end. Do you expect those two to be focal points in the rotation this year?
Yeah, I, again, talked about both of those guys several times, the improvement that they both made, the talent they possess, and then their commitment level. I think that's always important. It takes a lot more than just talent. And, a coach should try to, challenge his players, but, a coach also needs to inspire and motivate, but the coach can't want it more than the player wants it for himself. And so that means showing up every day, with an elite championship type of mindset, willing to do the work without having to have certain kind of results. You show up every day. This is how you do it. There's only one way. It's the right way. It's the hard way. And so they have to show that the willingness to commit to that. I've bragged on both of those guys. They both have, again, tremendous talent and ability. They're different people, and they're same in the way that they have great talent and great futures, in my opinion. And but love where they're at right now. From a competitive toughness and a competitive character. They let you coach them hard. They've got incredibly high standards that they show up with every single day. They understand that there's great competition at their positions, and neither one of them want to take a back seat to the guys they're competing with. So that gets me excited. Like I said, they're both ingrained in our special teams as well. We're counting on both of them to be good players for us this year, and guys that are dependable and reliable, consistent, those types of things.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, appreciate it.